Hi, I'm Manatee County Administrator Sherry Corrier. Each year, the Administrator delivers an annual report to the Board and community about the accomplishments of the county that year. It would be impossible to talk about 2020 without covering the outstanding efforts responding to the COVID-19 pandemic from all corners of our government, citizens, and County Commission. The county's response to the crisis constantly evolved as new information became available. New guidelines and regulations were issued by state and federal agencies, and new decisions were made by the Board of County Commissioners in the best interest of the public. Public Safety Director Jacob Sauer filled an extraordinary role in leading the county's response and coordinating with Manatee County Health Officer Dr. Jennifer Bensey and her team at the Department of Health. With the Emergency Management Chief Steve Lichauer at the helm, the Emergency Operations Center remained at a partial activation for most of the year, with the board extending a declared state of emergency since mid-March. 6 weeks before the onset of the pandemic, Manatee County Commissioners confirmed Jake as our newest department director. Jake succeeded because of the strong relationships he's forged with community health providers and the Department of Health, but also because of the strong team supporting him at Public Safety. Chief Joe Westerman's Beach Patrol team was instrumental in the early days of the outbreak, conveying important local and state information to beachgoers on the island and to water lovers at public boat ramps. Emergency Management Chief Lichauer and his team coordinated the community response, helping to establish COVID-19 testing locations and by helping to relay PPE and face mask donations to first responders and long-term care facilities. Emergency Communications Chief Stacy Needham and her team not only provided reliable 911 call assistance to a community in crisis, they also worked closely with IT Project Manager Art Stanlin to launch our new 311 call center, an invaluable resource for residents needing help throughout the pandemic. EMS Chief Jimmy Crutchfield's frontline team brought COVID-19 testing into nursing homes, and our brave paramedics and EMTs were among the first people to provide medical care and transport to COVID-19 patients. Chief Sarah Brown and her dedicated team at Animal Services did a tremendous job of providing safe, healthy access to adoptable pets while doubling our pet foster network, offsetting the influx of pets being surrendered during the pandemic. I cannot overstate Public Safety's incredible response to the COVID-19 crisis, and especially the leadership Jake Sauer provided for the past year. Our Public Safety team is always a mark of local pride, but Director Sauer and all the division chiefs and staff put forth a truly exceptional effort in 2020. Collaboration was key among our departments as we responded to the crisis in the community. In early stages of the pandemic, Public Works, Parks, and Property Management teams mobilized quickly to help close and later safely open our facilities in accordance with state and federal guidelines. Meanwhile, our Neighborhood Services and Redevelopment and Economic Opportunity departments immediately began gathering resources for residents and businesses affected by the pandemic. Neighborhood Services staff made wellness calls to more than 1,200 local seniors, veterans, and residents with special needs to help connect them with resources during the state's stay-at-home orders. They also volunteered at weekly Feeding Tampa Bay mega pantry events, getting food to up to 2,000 families a week. The county was able to help provide employment for individuals who lost work during the pandemic through a partnership between our Property Management Department and Suncoast Career Source, offering numerous new grant-funded positions to keep facilities sanitized. Property Management Director Charlie Bishop's custodial crew did not miss a day of coverage, ensuring safe and sanitized work environments for everyone. Code Enforcement Chief Jeff Bowman and his officers helped educate local business owners on the latest updates from the governor's Safer at Home orders and reinvented their roles on the island by leading the way for public safety on our public beaches. Our financial management, human resources, and IT departments worked hard to ensure an organization of 1,900 employees continued to function seamlessly despite the COVID-19 pandemic. Together, these departments developed guidelines and acquired, configured, and distributed necessary equipment and technology to enable staff to immediately transition to teleworking. As employees returned to the office, Human Resources worked with Public Safety to establish guidelines to ensure employees could remain at work, serving the community while also being safe. The team established rapid testing options for employees that helped reduce absenteeism, and they created access to emergency child care options for public safety employees so they could remain working when schools were closed. Parks and Natural Resources staff worked hard to deliver the highest level of recreation opportunities despite the pandemic. Most county parks and preserves remain open, practicing CDC guidelines, while sports facilities operated at limited capacity when county buildings reopened. Staff pivoted from their usual in-person environmental education classes to create a new online learning service, weekly webisodes, and large-scale public webinars. Our library's 6 locations transitioned to offer curbside material pickup. In lieu of the library's typical array of in-person programs, creative librarians implemented a range of virtual workshop classes and events. The Bradenton Area Convention Center, typically busy with special events throughout the year, became a temporary drive-through COVID-19 testing site. Our CVB team became experts at not only hosting events, but at hosting public meetings, allowing county commissioners to resume in-person meetings. Throughout 2020, our CVB team kept the public safe at those meetings by strictly adhering to CDC guidelines for social distancing and cleanliness, while our IT department implemented Zoom to provide a virtual option for meeting participation. CVB staff also worked with the Information Outreach Team and Up Manatee Coalition to help with the design, ordering, and distribution of 50,000 Up Manatee masks for adults and children. Spearheaded by county administration along with the health department and the school district, the Up Manatee Coalition unites more than 40 government agencies, businesses, medical providers, and nonprofit agencies to fight together against the spread of COVID-19. From the onset of the pandemic, it was clear that statewide stay-at-home orders and other precautionary measures were going to take their toll on residents and business owners throughout the state. When state funding assistance became available through the CARES Act, our REO team, led by Director Jerry Lopez, quickly transitioned the office into the local assistance headquarters for those suffering losses from the pandemic. As notification of expanded federal funding of $70.5 million became available, Deputy County Administrator Karen Stewart led the way to establish protocols, while Financial Management Director Jan Brewer and Grants Manager Hunter Foxwell established reporting and distribution standards. The CARES Act team has worked countless hours to fairly and efficiently award CARES relief to Manatee County's eligible residents and business owners who needed it the most. REO created the Housing Assistance Program, or HAP, and the Safety First Small Business Grant Program, providing about $13 million in assistance to more than 1,200 residents and businesses affected by the COVID-19 pandemic through both our CARES Act funding and other state funding sources. At the same time, Neighborhood Services Director Ava Eady, Compliance Coordinator Elaine Mayholtz, and Susan Ford, leading our Children's Services programs, approved nearly $16 million in CARES Act funding for local nonprofit programs promoting community health and well-being and economic recovery for residents in Manatee County. By the end of 2020, it will have been more than 300 days since the first case of COVID-19 was diagnosed in Manatee County. That's 300 days of our staff adapting, innovating, and working hard to respond to the pandemic and keep our residents safe. I could not be more proud of the way our local government and leaders have responded to a crisis that has impacted the lives and livelihoods of all Manatee County residents. And I look forward to the day when the virus is contained and we can resume the exceptional quality of life we have in Manatee County.